I just think while I think it's good verdict, let's talk about something I've been meaning to get to for a long time, right? Because this finished over a week ago now, and I would like to do a series review here. And the easiest way to do it is by going through the titles, right? 1 second. Creature Commandos, right? Creature Commandos. I really, genuinely love this show, right? I absolutely adored it, right from the titles. Does it go? It doesn't go straight into the. Yeah, you have. Firstly, I like the animation. So this was its biggest mistake, right? It had these guys who are clearly Antifa, right? Be right-wing losers instead of left-wing losers, right? That's basically it. That was the only problem, and I didn't really have such a problem with that. I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. You know, I'm sure they're those types of people as well. So, if you've seen James Gunn stuff, right? If you've seen DC stuff, or even Marvel, if you've seen the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, this is exactly in that world, right? It is seamlessly and perfectly in that world. It's the same setup as Suicide Squad, except they're not allowed to use humans now, but they can use non-humans, which is essentially monsters, right? So what you have with this show is many elements working together. Again, like most of James Gunn stuff, you have many elements working together. You have a good script and a good plot, right? That's engaging and keeps you interested. It's very funny, right? It's very fun, and it's got a great sense of humor, right? Again, as everything James Gunn stuff does. But this was what, 8 episodes long, 8 episodes long. And what they did, and I think they did very well, is they concentrated each episode on a different character, and they gave them so much more depth and life. Right? It was you did fall in love with these characters, Creature Commanders. Let's look at the titles because it lists all the characters.
Monster, also known as.
Okay, yeah, 1 second. Indira Varma as the bride. This is actually some of the best thing I've ever. I like Indira Varma, right? She's been in pretty much everything. The worst moment was when she was in Star Wars. Was it the Andor show? Where she was like beating up Imperial officers, and it looks so stupid. Yeah, see if I can find that clip on YouTube. Indira, I'm spelling her name wrong. Indira Varma. I was spelling it. Indira Varma, Star Wars Attacks Guard, I think. And it's like, it really is. It was just embarrassing, right? It was a genuinely embarrassing moment where no, I can't find the clip, sadly. It was a genuinely where she was being escorted by two Imperial officers, and she basically goes and she gets away from them. It's really weird, right? She plays this in like full-on Cockney in this one, and what works about it is she's sexy in it, right? She is sexy. She is a psychopathic killer who's essentially in charge of the group, right? She's the most capable one. And she's playing the bride. So you find out in her episode, she literally is the bride of Frankenstein, right? They bring in Frankenstein and the bride of Frankenstein into this, and she basically fell in love with Frankenstein. Noel says Crypto was the best thing in the trailer by a long way. I love Crypto in that trailer. I absolutely love Crypto in that trailer, right? I loved a lot about it. Noel doesn't think it's going to be good. I've got a lot of high hopes for this. Because again, the tone of his work is, generally speaking, freaking excellent, right? So watchable, so enjoyable, with so much heart, right? And you can say the same thing about Peacemaker. And if you haven't seen Peacemaker, that's a huge recommend, right? It really is. Because again, you take these somewhat two-dimensional characters and silly comedic plots, and then add depth and pathos and meaning to the characters. So again, yeah, no. So you do you. By the time you reach the finale, you know who all these people are, and rather than being two-dimensional monster characters, they're genuine characters that you care about, and you see that so little in today's entertainment, right? Have you ever seen a character you cared about in Star Trek? What's it called again? Discovery. Of course not. No one cares about any of those characters. It was at Lower Decks. Those characters were not just you didn't care about them, you actively hated most of them, right? So yeah, being able to make believable characters that you cared about with good performances and good animation and make it fun and make the story interesting and have turns in it, I think that's a huge win, right? I think that's a huge win. That's The Bride. Okay, yeah, so this is his brother, I think, playing both. Yeah, Sean Gunn as G.I. Robot and Weasel. And again, both these characters get given huge amounts of character. I mean, like you see the G.I. Robot, right? I think he's with Sergeant Rock, is it? When he flashes back, I can't remember, right? And how he gets like sold for surplus after the war, and he ends up being sold in private hands, and eventually gets bought by a bunch of American neo-Nazis, and he's psychopathically hates Nazis and wants to murder them all. So that's what he does, right? And then Weasel, who was in the Suicide Squad, has a really genuinely sweet backstory. And again, you just end up liking him and caring about him. Alan Tudyk as Dr. Ross. Alan Tudyk is great in everything. He genuinely, and like when I first saw him in Firefly, and then like like he didn't strike me as being like such a great actor. I think if an American played Doctor Who, Alan Tudyk will be fantastic. So he plays Dr. Phosphorus, who is like radioactive and able to like melt people's faces off or melt himself through metal doors or things like that. And again, once you get his backstory, it's so tragic. It's very much like Alan Moore's Killing Joke, right? Where his wife is brutally murdered, and he was going through this crime stuff to save her. So it's very similar to Killing Joke. But again, he comes out. All these characters come out as really damaged and still human, right? Even though they're all monsters. Again, another great character. Her backstory is more interesting than her actual character is in the show. She's definitely the weakest character in the show. Oh yeah, and David Harbour as Frankenstein. Yeah, so again, they're bringing Frankenstein to Bride. He's a psycho. Oh, he's very violent as well. The show. It's like I love how violent it is. Right, it makes it fun. Right. So he's completely in love with the bride and has been searching to get her back for all these years. So since she was born, and again, David Harbour does a good job of doing like the lovelorn, lovesick puppy who's also a incredibly violent psychopath. So he really pulls that together. And Frank Grillo is Rick Flag, who I guess the father of the other Flag, who was in the Suicide Squad. So again, he has an interesting story. They're sent to this European country to defend the princess who will soon take over the country. And he does have a torrid sex scene with her. I think in the first episode. Let's have a look. Right. She's like, again, and she like throws herself at him, but the sex scene is generally speaking very good. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, that would be over there. maybe it was a bit later. Maybe it's in the next episode. I can't remember. I don't know. But again, it's funny. It's funny and it's fun, right? That's how I would describe it. The plot has lots of twists and turns. You have somebody you think is a villain, is a hero, is a villain. I like all that a lot. I think that's really works. Noel says, my issue is that he is adapting comic book characters, but remember people out of never read a Superman comic, just seen the shows and movies. That was a big reason I hated the Suicide Squad. See, I didn't know any of the characters in Suicide Squad. I just liked the movie. I thought it was fun, right? I really did. I thought it was fun. I liked a lot of the actors. Like Michael Rooker, you can put in pretty much anything, and I want to see him now, right? He was great. I liked Harley Quinn. I thought she was way better than she was in the first one, and she has a psychopathic. How would you describe it? Fight sequence where she murders lots of people, but instead of blood, everything is like the pretty hearts is superimposed. It was really good, right? It was really good. What's his name? Idris Elba was clearly playing the exact same character as Will Smith, just with a slightly different name, right? And I like the villain with the thing that goes on their faces, the alien. The kaiju. So yeah, look, I mean, for me, I look at these things as a newbie going in, right? And we were talking last night on Dan's show about the Daredevil trailer. Now, I love Daredevil. I love Born Again. It's one of the greatest comics ever written. Right? It was absolutely fantastic. It really is one of my favorite comics. I think it is one of the greatest comics ever written. So this new Daredevil Born Again show looks nothing like that. It's going to have nothing. It won't be similar in any way. They're basically just using the words "born again" to reboot it into the Disney Channel. It's as close as it is to the comic book as Moonraker was to the from the book to the movie. Right? Not at all. But it does look like an exciting piece of drama. I'll give it a go. Right? It's got me on board to give it a go. I'm also going to give Andor a go when that comes out. They're saying that. Who's it? Skydance, so J.J. Abrams' company, have hired a analytical firm, right? That has advised them to rest Star Trek for a number of years, right? Just end all the stuff that's going on with Secret Hideout and just let it lie fallow for a few years, and then bring it back with like a much more traditionalist monster of the week type thing, on a starship. Or you could just bring Terry Matalas in to do Star Trek Legacy, right? Because all the different Star Trek shows being in different timelines, it's just confusing. The whole thing is a shit show, right? But they are what's the things they're looking at? Like the ratio between cost and impact was really, really bad, right? They spent a ton of money on it, and nobody watched it. Essentially, that was the worst for Discovery. Lower Decks did much better because it was much cheaper, but it also looked much deeper, right? JJ was on Terry was on JJ's side as well. So one of the reasons I have hope for the MCU and Marvel is that he's doing the Vision TV show, and I think he's a huge talent. Right, I think he's absolutely a huge talent. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.